Very few people know that you can leverage AI to maximize your points and miles in order to plan free trips or cheap trips. So stay with me. We'll get into it today. Hey guys, welcome back to Wander with Bree. I am Bree, and this is the channel where we talk about all things travel and tech. This is part 2 of a 3-part series about travel hacking. So 2 weeks ago, we went through point hacking 101. This week is point hacking 102. And then next week, I have a special surprise for you, and an expert will be coming on the channel. So if you haven't seen part 1, I will go ahead and link it up in the card right here. Pop back over, check that out, and then come back to me. I will be here waiting for you. Unless you're a seasoned expert already in point hacking and using your points and miles, then go ahead and continue on with us, and we'll get. Thank you all for being here. This is episode 15, which is bananas. I am so proud of the community we are building here. Thank you all for your feedback. Thank you all for your comments. Jake, I heard you. I'm feeling real good today. Yeah, it has been so much fun to talk to friends and family after they watch the channel. Hey guys, remember, please like, comment, subscribe. Don't text me with your feedback, put it in the comments, because we are a brand new channel. And the more you subscribe, the more you share the channel, the more you comment on the channel, interact, it helps the algorithm to suggest this channel to other people who may be interested. So with all that said, all housekeeping covered, let's go ahead and get into today's topic. We're going to get into point hacking 102. Today, we are going to be exploring 4 different AI-based models that will help you to utilize, earn, spend appropriately your travel points and miles. I don't know about you, but for me, I'm often not sure, okay, which card should I use at which time, and which one gives me better points and miles, and which one should I redeem? Should I use it within the Chase portal, or should I transfer it over to Alaskan Airlines and then transfer that to Marriott? I tend to spend hours and hours and hours just trying to figure out how exactly to use my points and miles. And at the end of the day, I feel like I do the right thing, but I don't always know. So there are 4 separate websites, and actually one of them is an app that I have narrowed down for you. I have combed the internet, just digging in, trying to figure out which companies very specifically harness the power of AI in order to get you the best use out of your points and miles. Today, I feel pretty confident I found the best 4. If for whatever reason I don't name one of your favorites, please, for the love of all that is travel related, put it down in the comments, tell all of us so we can share it and we can use it and support the company that's doing something really awesome. So what you may not know is that this AI technology to hack points and miles is pretty new. One of the websites I'm speaking about today literally came out this month. Just as a reminder, the purpose of earning points and miles is to use and redeem them. We want to spend less money and get more travel. Ta-da! So that's the goal, right? Let's go ahead and get into that. So here we are on Max My Point. My Point is an aggregator site, so it pulls from the 4 major hotel chains. That's Hyatt, Hilton, Marriott, and IHG, and it pulls pricing as well as points. There are 3 membership levels for this website. Free, which is what we are going to be using, $3.99 a month, which is the gold, and $7.99 a month, which is the platinum. From what I can tell, the biggest advantage is being able to see more hotels. The free version only allows you to see 10 per day. So for our purposes, we are going to be very efficient today, and I would recommend that when you are using this, you come into the website with a general idea of where you are already planning on going, in this case, Paris, and maybe a couple of resorts or hotels that you are already thinking about that you want to search for specifically. Now, in the search, you can search by hotel name, by keyword, and by location. For our purposes, I'm going to search by location, and also I'm a Marriott girly, so I'm going to go and set that up. So let's go ahead and look in Paris, and then we are going to search Marriott only. I don't care about the sub-brands. That's not really all that important to me, so I'm not going to search that. And we're going to say maybe keep the nightly points under 120,000 points. You also have the ability to download the Chrome extension to be able to track points over time. So let's look and see what we have here. Say 10,000 Bonvoy points. That looks really interesting. So what we are going to do is we are going to click on the hotel itself, and it's going to give us a calendar. Now you can view it in this particular calendar, or you can also view it in the list view if you want to be able to quickly scroll through the room rates and the point conversion. I personally like a calendar, and I know that we are planning to travel in sometime between March and April. So let's look at April. Okay. The other thing to note is most of the time this information is accurate, but you want to double check. So what I'm looking for here is the least amount of points that I have to use to stay here. I am seeing 90,000 points at the end of April. Okay, so still sticking to the end of April, it looks like it's actually going to be less expensive to head into May. So let's go ahead and click on May. So let's say maybe that weekend. Okay, so it is giving me what exactly is 91,000 points per stay and my options, and I can book from here. Ooh, that looks nice. Then you sign in, and it also tells you the availability of the place where you are looking for the time frame. This looks like a really popular place to stay. So I want to point out something else that I'm seeing on here. It occurs to me that it could be interesting for you to know. If you see, for example, the Metropolitan Hotel and it says, or approximately $70, right? So this number is the cash value essentially. So the higher the number is here shown in green, the better the deal is for this particular hotel. So for example, the Courtyard Paris is a significantly better deal in terms of points. So meaning it takes less points in order to book, whereas the Moxie in Paris is, 10,000 Bonvoy points, but the conversion is not very good. So you would actually be better off booking something like the Courtyard or the Metropolitan if that suited your needs. So next, moving along, we are going to click on deal. The deals are great. Let's say maybe you don't have a specific day that you want to go or a time of year that you want to go, but you want to go. So here we are in deal. We are going to use the Hyatt example because I'm not able to filter here because I am using the free version. So downside that there. So let's say you don't have a plan, but you're thinking Christmas Day could be kind of cool. The rest of my family is going to be out of town. Let's check it out. 180,000 Hyatt points for 2 nights. Interesting. They have all of their suites available, standard, cash rate, club. Okay. Wow. The Big Sur suite, 66,000 points per night. That is insanely inexpensive. Okay, so then because it has redirected me to the World of Hyatt, I will book it there. I never would have thought of that. So how about that? So when I say this website is not for daydreaming, it is, but it isn't, right? So just make sure that you're looking for the deals if you decide that you want to daydream. Okay, so last but not least, let's go to Max FHR. This is for those of you Amex card holders, specifically Amex Platinum holders have this thing called FHR, which is the Fine Hotels and Resorts. So when you have an Amex Platinum card, you also get a $200 credit at every fine hotel and resort that you stay. Now, you can also do this in your Amex card portal search, but if you want to be able to compare on here, this is a great way to do it. So over on the left-hand side, you also see the property credit or food and beverage credit that are offered with these hotels. And it's telling you very specifically where you can go that you will receive this credit. Check Paris. Now, the thing about the fine resorts and hotels is they do tend to be a little bit more expensive. So you kind of want to find the beautiful trifecta of like a nice place, not too super expensive to stay, and you've got the resort credit. I found a handful of those in Ireland and in Spain. It is possible, you just have to be patient. Now, this is suggesting very specific dates and times that you're going to go and stay. But again, if you're an Amex Platinum card holder, you can do this through Amex or you can do this here too. So overall, Max My Point is a really interesting website that helps you figure out, let's say you walk in and you say, I know I have 70,000 IHG points. I don't really know what is the best IHG hotel to go to. Then you can pop into Max My Point, figure out what to do with your points, and then go ahead and book it directly onto the website there. So this is a great way that AI has configured to figure out exactly the best use of your points and then the conversion of your points as well. So let's talk about some pros and cons, right? So the cons are obvious. The website is clunky. There's a few things that are sort of restricted if it's not free, but it's really not bad. You can only see 10 hotels a day, but the benefit of it is this is an aggregate website that pulls Hyatt, IHG, Hilton, and Marriott all in the same place. You can compare Hilton to Marriott if you want to see which points go further versus having to bump around inside their websites and take notes and figure out which is better and which conversion is better. You can compare the two. And you can also download an extension for Chrome for you to track it. And you can figure out where and whether or not you can use your Fine streamline hotel resorts credit with Amex if you decide you want to. Overall, it's sort of like an AI whisperer telling you how you can get a cheaper stay. This is a great way to maximize your value and book your hotel stay when using AI. Okay, so let's go on now to Roame. Now we are talking about booking flights. There are 3 different versions of this particular website. We are going to be using the free version, which is called Skyview Lite. There is also an upgraded version called Skyview, which is $9.16 a month, and a business version, which is $291.66 per month. We are again reviewing the free version today. Okay, so again, for this imaginary scenario, which I hope becomes real, we are looking for a trip from Phoenix to Paris, which we're planning on doing next spring, but unfortunately that is a pro feature. So we are going to search the end of the month instead. So it looks like you can really only book about 60 days in advance. Upgrading to the paid version, $9.16 a month or $291 a month, is going to be helpful to you to see a little bit more. We are looking in economy, premium economy for one traveler now, just for points, and we'll go ahead and search. Okay, so the cool thing about Roame is this is another aggregator site. So it's pulling the multiple credit card point systems and miles reward systems that you can use with the multiple airlines that you can be flying. It's also going to help you with point transfers. So if there is an alliance where you can transfer points from your credit card to, let's say you're flying American Airlines and you want to fly British, or you have British Avios points, they are actually going to walk you through how to transfer your points from one to the other. So let's check out what we've got here. Up at the top, you'll see that we also have the cards available. So I have selected the cards that apply to me. So they will pull Amex membership rewards cards, Bilt, Brex, Capital One, Chase, Citi, and Marriott. So unfortunately for my husband, I have most of those. And then the rewards programs that you're also enrolled in. So I basically selected all of these because it costs you absolutely nothing to enroll in programs. So enroll in program. Okay, so 274 plus flights have been found, and it's sorting by Roame's pick. So here we've got a flight that is one stop, 27,000 points. Wow. One-way economy. That's great. Just do a quick overview here. It looks like, let's click the drop down. Okay. So this is the part that is really cool. This is the part that takes me hours on my own, and they have done it for us. Here are the options to book. So you'll see next to the actual flight details here on the left, on the right, here's one of the options. Transfer your points from one of the credit cards below to an airline loyalty program. Please note that airline inventory can change quickly. Availability and pricing are not guaranteed. So I can click right here and I can book directly through American Airlines. Now that is pretty clean cut. However, maybe I don't have enough points on my American Advantage card, but maybe I have 100,000 points on my Marriott Bonvoy card. So if I don't have 27,000 American Advantage points, I might have 81,000 Marriott Bonvoy points. So as you know, Marriott and American Airlines have an alliance. So you can transfer between the two. So we'll click on transfer, and then it gives us every single step by step of how to book your flight and transfer your points. Literally, like, you can take my whole last video about how to redeem points. You can just throw it out the window and just use Roame. This is so freaking cool, you guys. Let me show you another example. Let me see if I can find a more complicated trip. Let's go to Kigali, just because I know I had to fly like 4 different airlines to get there when I went. Absolutely nothing available. Oh. So now that we have searched Kigali, we are looking specifically for December 16th. You can see that our options here of the flying programs and the credit cards that are offered are significantly greater. So let's pick one out here. Let's go for the shortest one, 28 hours, and let's see what they have to offer. Oh my God, Ollie. Okay, so you've got the detailed breakdown of the flight itself, and then on the right-hand side, how we can transfer points to book this. So the first option is to transfer Flying Blue points through KLM or Air France. You can book directly with your loyalty account through Air France, KLM, Flying Blue, or if you don't have enough of those points, the other options are American Express membership awards, transfer them directly to the airline. Capital One membership rewards, transfer those directly to the airline, but you notice there's more. And then thank you card from Citi, and transfer that directly to the airlines. Now, you notice that Capital One and Citi have the same amount of points, 137,500 points, plus $329. So typically there's a tax that you have to pay when you land. However, what's interesting here is you see the American Express membership rewards has a plus 20%. So what that means is you are actually getting a bonus. So you're earning an additional 20% with the transfer over. So you're saving 20,000 points on your transfer. So this is the one that I would ultimately choose. Okay, so then within Roame, you also have this Discover tab that I clicked on here. And we are going to save from Phoenix. And we're going to pick the same dates just for funsies, basically the same dates. So this is very similar to Kayak Explorer if you've used that before. It's showing 14 different mileage programs. It's showing business and first. Okay, so we are looking at return flights between Phoenix and Toronto, Canada. That's interesting. Let's check that out. 33,000 points directly with American. If I want to fly to Toronto, that's pretty great. Or I can transfer from Marriott to American for 99,000 points. Typically, Marriott and hotel points are worth about a third of what airline points are. And typically the highest value point that you can have are credit card points. This is a really interesting way to explore different options, just the same as you would with hotel points on Max My Points. So overall, there are some pros and cons to Roame. There are some limitations within Roame. If you are using the free service, you won't be able to necessarily search for different dates within your search. You may be requesting just one specific date and sort of hunting and pecking to figure out which points to use. But in my opinion, that also becomes a pro because really what it's doing is it's telling you which points programs are most advantageous for you to use to fly to which location. So that's invaluable to me. The pro is that with all of this information, all of this free information is still extremely beneficial and it's really fast. It helps you look through multiple credit card rewards programs, multiple airlines, and compare them one to one right next to each other instead of having to hop into multiple airlines or try to book through your credit card. And if you remember, typically if you're trying to book a flight through your credit card, that's actually going to cost you more than taking the points you've already earned in your credit card and transferring them to the airline, which is typically what we recommend doing. It's user-friendly and the user interface is really quite beautiful. Okay, so now that you have been able to book your hotel and you've been able to book your flight, let's talk about more of the day-to-day planning of how you want to use your miles and how you want to maximize them. And there is no better site, in my opinion, or app than the Points Guy. In my opinion, the Points Guy is doing something that absolutely nobody else has figured out how to do just yet. That is the ability to take in all of your credit cards, all of your points, and actually help you figure out exactly how you want to use them. This is an incredible aggregate database. And the Points Guy uses AI in its application. So we're going to go through the app right after we go through this website and a few of the travel tools that you should be using in order to get maximum benefit out of all your points and miles. Okay, so up here at the top, we are going to immediately go to Tools. And you'll see these 4 tools that you can use. The Points Guy app we are going to go through, but let's also go through the TPG points valuation. This is going to help you make sure that you are getting the best value to the dollar of the points that you have earned. Because when it comes down to it, your points are equivalent to dollars. So you want to get the best deal you possibly can. So if you want to know what your points are worth, the Points Guy updates their website regularly, letting you know exactly what your points and miles are worth. So here's a perfect example. American Express membership awards, 2 cents per dollar. Essentially, that's how they break it down. Chase Ultimate Rewards, Citi Thank You, Wells Fargo, now Airline Points and Mile, 1.5 cents. American Airlines Advantage, 1.6, Nippon, 1.4. Okay, you get the point. That gives you a general idea of any additional news that you may need to know that are going on with the airlines or with the cards, and then also exactly what they are worth. So you see that American Express membership rewards and Chase Ultimate Rewards are both 2 of the strongest, other than Bilt Rewards. They are, and some hotel. Yeah, so they are some of the strongest credit card points that you can have, and some of the strongest points and miles in general that you can have in the industry. Now that you know generally what your points valuation is, you can use the awards and cash calculator. From what I could tell, and I sent an email to the points guy, but I didn't hear back. Granted, I only gave them a few days and I'm sure they're really busy. But from what I can understand, the only part of the points guide that actually utilizes AI is their app. So again, stay tuned. We're going to get there in just one moment, but this is a really quick thing for you to know. Awards versus cash calculator. Okay, so we are going to choose American Airlines Advantage, 110,000 points and miles and $100 in fees because we're flying through Heathrow, and that's essentially how it goes. We're not adding a transfer partner. We just want to keep this as simple as possible. And we don't necessarily know what the cash would be, so we're just not even going to do that. Let's calculate. With this calculation, TPG estimates the points needed for this trip are worth $1,947 plus $100 in estimated fees. If you can find a fare for less than that, you may want to consider paying cash. So let's say you find this exact same fare for $1,000 and you can afford to pay the $1,000, then technically using cash is a better deal than using your points. Points are not always one-to-one. Points do not always transfer perfectly. So this will help you find out whether or not this is a good deal for you. You can use that for airlines, and then you can also use that for hotels. Okay, so now let's get into the actual app itself. So we are in the Points Guy app. You have the very bottom toggle options. You have the dashboard. You also have news, and then you have your wallet. Let's talk about the dashboard quickly because this is what I absolutely love. Okay. So once you scroll, I would say down about a page and a half, you have the latest news, which you can also get in the news down at the bottom. But here is the most important part to me, out making a purchase. This is what I do not know that any other platform does for you. This is using AI to tell you specifically which card to use and where. The cool thing about this is it actually, where I am filming right now, it's telling me everything that is around me and which card I should use to go to those areas. So it's just telling you specifically on the shops that are around you. Now it's not perfect, right? Which card you should use for what. So if I go to the Joy Lush Club, I should use my Chase Freedom card. But if I go to Crazy Cajun, then I should use Chase Sapphire. So this will actually tell you specifically which card to use and when. Now here's the other interesting thing. So on my dashboard, it's also telling me earned versus missed points. I earned 2,579, and this is a little bit painful for me to look at, and I missed 1,506 points in September. So if you want additional information on that, you will come over to your wallet, and then you've got all cards in here. Now, what I did is I came up to the top and I clicked on add account. So I added which accounts that I have. I added the loyalty accounts, and I added the credit card accounts that I have. And then here, it's telling me my earnings summary. So for the month, and then it has my cards selected that I used. And then it's giving me a report of the earned points and potential points I could have earned. All in all, if we are talking about the points guy, if we're talking about pros and cons of the points guy, first of all, it is free, period, the end, free. And it is started by somebody who is an ultimate traveler, super passionate about helping people hack travel. It is the only application that I know of that stores your credit card information, your points information, your miles information, and can actually give you advice on where to use those. Really have a whole lot of cons here, to be honest, other than maybe it just needs to take additional time to get better and better and better. But I can't think of a negative thing for the points guy. I do believe they probably make some money on selling credit cards, so that's something to keep in mind. But in terms of pros, this is a pretty fantastic option. You can look at your recent transactions to see how you did. So highly, highly recommend the points guy in maximizing your points while you're traveling. Alrighty, last but not least, welcome to 10x Travel. So 10x Travel is really interesting. It actually just rolled out in October, so it's brand new. It is completely free. Now, 10x Travel is a travel website that helps you with point hacking, credit cards, award booking, yada, yada, all that kind of stuff. And they have used this AI language model to search within their own website. So there are some limitations to this because if 10x Travel doesn't have this information on their website, or there's not an article written about this on their website that is their proprietary information, it's not going to come up in this chatbot. Now, this is not for itinerary planning. This is very specifically for any of their specific topic: best cards, award booking, card match, credit repair, luxury hotels, podcast, travel insurance, trip planning, so on and so forth. Let's go ahead and ask for help. Okay, so I asked, please tell me the best credit card program to fly to Paris and book a hotel. Now, keep in mind, this AI chatbot is brand new, so it can be a little bit slow at times. So just be patient and be prepared to multitask as you're doing this. Okay, to plan a trip to Paris using points and miles, you might consider using a combination of credit card programs. For flights, the Capital One Venture X Rewards card can be a good option. It also allows you to earn Venture miles that can be used for flights. For booking hotels, the City Premier card can be useful, especially since City Thank You points can be transferred to Choice hotels, making it more valuable for hotel stays. For more detailed information how to use these cards to book your trip to Paris, and then it gives you a couple of articles that will help you. Okay, please tell me how to best utilize my Capital One Venture X card to fly to Paris. Okay. And here's the really cool part. To best utilize your Capital One Venture X card for flying to Paris, you can transfer your Venture miles to one of Capital One's transfer partners, such as Flying Blue, which is part of Air France and KLM. The points transfer at a 1-to-1 ratio, and the transfer is usually instant. Flying Blue offers great redemptions to France, and you can use the Air Miles price estimator tool to determine the number of miles needed for your flight. Additionally, keep an eye out for Flying Blue promo rewards, which can offer a 25% or 30% discount on flights from US to Europe. Combining these promo rewards with any transfer bonuses from Capital One will make your flight to Paris even more affordable. So you would then go, oh my gosh, I also have a Capital One card. Cool. So I am very interested. Which credit card is best to use on food while in Paris? No answer there. So we sort of struck out. Okay, so I'm following my own rules here. Help me plan a trip to Paris for the least amount of money using points and miles. I have a Capital One card, an Amex, and a Chase card. Which would be best to use for what? Hotels, flights, events, and transportation. And then it specifically tells us for flights that you can use your Capital One Venture miles or Amex, so those two, and specifically why. So you can use your Amex membership rewards points, which can be transferred to various airline partners, including Air France, KLM, British Airways, and Delta. Now, we have already done our homework to figure out which flights we like. So sometimes I will pop onto Gemini and ask it about flights because it pulls from Google Flights. So I may already have a list of flights that I like, but let's say I went on Roame already and I found some really great flights with KLM. Now I may have this answer already, but it's a really awesome way to actually feel like you're asking a human being, like, hey, this is the credit card I have. What's the best way for me to use it? So let's say specifically you have one credit card. So a lot of people will start off with the Capital One Venture card. Okay, so I have the Capital One Venture card. What should I use points on and how should I earn them if I want to travel to Paris in 2025? Again, very specifically, if I want to use points, I can use them on flights and accommodations, and how I can do it, how I can earn points, and then consider booking it through Capital One Travel as well. So a fantastic way to dig in. I would say, even though this is sort of shown at the end of the 4 that I'm giving you, this could be a really excellent way to just start. It doesn't cost anything. This chatbot is free and always free. And they do also offer a free course as well, which I have signed up for and I will be attending. I think it's in a week or 2. The pros and cons of this. The cons are there is a limited search, right? It's not Google Gemini. It doesn't have the entire web to search from. But on the pro side, it is an AI-powered language model that understands context and conversational text. So what that means is I can ask it one question and it remembers it further on. So if I say, help me plan a trip to Paris, and they give me suggestions, I would say, what else do I need to know? Or what other credit cards should I use? And it remembers that initial question about Paris. I don't have to repeat myself. Okay, so then additional pros is, again, it is free and it is easy to use. The con is it can be a little bit clunky, so that can be a little bit frustrating. But the pro is this entire 10x Travel AI assistant is set up to help people optimize their points and miles and use their points and miles and understand the credit cards that they have. And as far as I can tell, this is the first of its kind. So I would assume that more are coming. that other websites are going to start using things like this. Like Amex has started working with point.me, which is really incredible. It's sort of crippled the original point.me, in my opinion. But if you're an Amex Platinum card owner, then you also get to use Amex point.me. That a whole other conversation about that as well. Let me know if you'd like to hear about that. All in all, these four are pretty fantastic. I would definitely say to use 10x Travel. Start off your search with 10x Travel and then play around with Max My Points and Roam. And then figure out, where you want to stay, figure out your points. And then if you want to figure out whether or not the valuation is good or not, go to the Points Guy. And then once you arrive to the place in Paris, you pull up the Points Guy app and you look around to see where you should be using your cards. So there you have it. Thank you guys so much for being here. I hope that you learned something new, and I hope that you can take this travel hacking model, use these 4 AI websites, and really plan something spectacular for yourself. I would love to know in the comments anything that you've learned and any of your massive point hacking wins. So on to our special announcement. Next week, we will have on the channel Stephanie Zito. I had the pleasure of meeting Stephanie at the Women's Travel Fest. I will link that below. Stephanie's day job is helping humanitarian organizations, their businesses committed to sustainable practices to share their stories. She is also a pro travel hacker, credit card expert, and she has consulted with creditcards.com. She's also written 2 travel guides. So I hope that you guys will join us next week. She is a fantastic resource, a wonderful human being, and I cannot wait for you to learn from her and get to know her. I am incredibly lucky and incredibly fortunate that she agreed to do an interview with me. Anyway, guys, have a wonderful week. I cannot wait to see you next week. I cannot wait to explore Point Hacking 103 with you. All of you who are ready, come join us next week. Bye!